Hello, David Akubian, Bearwoods Photography. Today I want to talk about some filters that I've been playing with and using and experimenting with. They're the Kase Wolverine series magnetic variable neutral density filters, and there's 3 different ones. And I want to talk about those and the differences and what I discovered with those. And I think it's sort of very, very helpful because I think some of the things will get rid of some of the stigmas with variable neutral densities that we've seen in the past. Anyway, it's the Kase variable neutral densities, and we'll take a close look at how they operate here in a second. But I do want to talk about the 3 different ranges that they've got. First of all, they've got a 1.5 to 10 stop. Then they've got a 6 to 9 stop and a 2 to 5 stop. And I think that when you look at why the range duplication, why is it that there is a 1.5 to 10, a 2 to 5, and then a 6 to 9. As anyone that's ever used a 1 to 10 or 1.5 to 10 or 2 to 10 stop variable neutral density filter on an ultra wide lens, you know that typically at that higher range, you get some really weird artifacts, as they refer to as Xing. And you know, I did find that with the 1.5 to 10, that still is the case below 30 millimeters. Above 30 millimeters, you know, I was shooting on the 35 to 150 from Tamron, and everything was fine, 35 up to 150. Then I said, I'm going to try the 20 to 40. I put it on, and with the 1.5 to 10 stop, I immediately noticed that as you got higher up, you did get those distinct patterns. So I sort of got curious as to why maybe those other ranges were there. And as I played with the 1.5 to 10, I noticed that at 20 millimeters, anything less neutral density than 5 did not give me that effect. So that made me think, so maybe the 2 to 5 was designed so you could use specifically with wide angle, ultra wide angle lenses, in this case a 20 millimeter, and not get that effect. I don't want to really call it vignetting, it's more of that, and I'll put an image in here as a matter of fact to show you what it looks like. But as I experimented with it, it was starting to rain, so I had to stop eventually, but I did find that everything above 30 millimeters was fine all the way through the range, but at 20 millimeters or wider than 30, the 1.5 to 5 was great. So putting the 2 to 5 on there, everything was good all the way through the range. When I stopped doing some of the video, I was curious, so I stopped again and I did the 20 millimeter, but I put on the 6 to 9 stop. Now bear in mind, everything with the 1.5 to 10 above 5 stops had that effect. When I put the 6 to 9 stop variable neutral density on, I had nothing. Even at 20, I had none of the issues that were prevalent with the 1.5 to 10. So my thought process is that maybe they realized that whatever you had to have to get that wide of a range of neutral density, that's what was causing it, so they could eliminate that by having less of a range. I don't know that for a fact, but I'm believing that's what it was. The end result is this, that if you're using something 35 millimeters or greater, the 1.5 to 10 stop is a great filter. But a lot of times when I'm doing scenics of rivers and some things, I find that I want to put on, you know, a 6 stop neutral density in addition to a polarizer, and that's where you start to run into problems. But now with that 6 to 9 stop, that's eliminated. You know, it means carry an additional filter, but that's no big deal. You can see that they're fairly small. These are the 82 millimeter size. The filter itself is 95, but then there's the magnetic step up. Just like the rest of the Wolverine series, you know, it simply is magnetic. It comes off. You can put the magnetic filter, a magnetic lens cover on there. And I'm gonna come in close here in just a second because I want to show you some of the aspects, the mechanical aspects of the filter itself. One thing that I do want to show you is it's kind of great because when I'm using the variable neutral densities, or even a neutral density, I'll polarize a lot of times. And with others in the past, I have not been able to polarize because it sort of works against the effects. But with this, you can use the 95mm magnetic Wolverine filter, and it just simply clips onto the front, or magnetically grasp onto the front. And once you do your neutral density, then you can put the filter on, you just hold the front, and it goes to wherever you want it to go. You can reduce the glare, increase the saturation, just like you would normally with a circular polarizer. So I love that aspect of it. Just fantastic to have, and I'll have those examples in here as well. Some of these examples may pop up during the video itself, but I'll put the rest in afterwards so you can see, and I'll label them with which filter I used. All those images, the more narrow images, were the Tamron 35 to 150 at f8, and then the 20 to 40 at different varying lengths. There were some that were at 20mm to show the effects, and I think I did a couple over at 30 too. I may throw something in there with that. Now, why would you need a variable neutral density? Well, I don't go out knowing or with a preconceived notion of what I'm going to use sometimes. I carried a variety of filters. So if I'm carrying 3 or 4 neutral density filters, this is still going to be a lot thinner, and it's going to be a lot more compact. So the idea behind it is good. You can use the one to do the variation. The other big reason that I use it, I don't do a lot of video where I would need it. If I did, I think that the 2 to 5 would be a great filter to use for video. But I don't always want to have to shoot at f22 or f16 necessarily to get the smooth water effect. The sharper parts of the lens may be f8, maybe 5.6, maybe f11. And I think that I want to utilize the sharpest part of the lens in combination with the neutral density to be able to get the effect of the slower shutter speed up to 30 seconds sometimes. So instead of having to go to f22 and a smaller set filter that I've got already, that's where the variable neutral density comes into it. There's so many ideas as to why they would work great in the field, but again, in the past, there's the big drawback has been that 1.5 to 10 stop have left those artifacts. So I've been excited to find that there's something that I could use beyond that. Now the Kase filters, just like all the Kase filters that they make, it's a type of tempered glass with a nice coating on it that it's virtually indestructible. I've never had an issue with any of the coatings. I've never had an issue. I've dropped them. Nothing's ever happened. I may scar up the outside of them a little bit, but the Kase filters are absolutely the best filters I've ever used. And to see now that they've got this variable neutral density that expands on what I can do, I like it even better. So I'm going to bring the camera in closer, and we're going to take a look at the actual mechanics of the lens or the filter itself. So as you can see, the filter's mounted to the front. If you look, and I'll turn it around in a minute, there's a little marker right here, like a little silver notch, and on the filter ring itself, that same little notch is there. That allows you to, when you mount it, it doesn't slip and slide around. So as you're doing the variable adjustment, the filter itself stays attached and stays in that one place. So if you're at 1.5 stops, it's there. 10 stops is all the way over. You can see there's distinct markings as to where those stops would be. And again, the entire piece is magnetic for the Wolverine series. You can get them in different sizes. I ordered the 82 because that's my biggest filter size. I can use the 67 to 82 step up and it's fine. All of them are the same. Let me just pull one of these out here while you're looking at that. This is actually the 6 to 9. And you can see same type of thing. It's got the little silver tab on the side that makes sure it's lined up. And you can actually see a little bit of a coating difference. And I think that this is all part of that, the ability to have that one filter do more, or the additional filters to cover that additional range and not give you the the artifacts or vignetting, whatever it would be called. So I think that it's very, very important. But again, it's very easy to use. You just simply, you could, if you're stuck on a certain number of stops, you can look at it and go in and put it right on the marker. It's got the screw that locks on there. But again, there's a little mark here that'll help line it up. Goes all the way up from 1.5 all the way down to 10. Same thing with the others. 2 stops to 5, 6 to 9. So I guess that the idea behind it, I don't know. I'm hoping I can confirm it at some point. And if I do find out at some point, I'll put it in the comments of the video here. But again, just that versatility of being able to go 6 to 9 stops, that on a 20mm lens, this 1.5 to 10 won't do that, whereas the 6 to 9 doesn't give you that artifact, so you can use those 9 stops, the 6 to 9 stops with a 20mm lens. So I'm going to back the camera back up for a second. So summarizing my test and the results, which I've put in the video here and I'll put in after this part of it as well, just so you see, I really like the smooth water effect. I'll also use it on beaches to slow the waves down, the clouds and everything else. But I like to have the option, instead of carrying a bunch of filters, being able to simply use one, and in this case a variable neutral density filter, to to have that variation in there. In addition to the quality that Kase uses with their filters, the coatings, it's easier to clean, everything about it, I'm just really impressed, because this technology could really change how a lot of people look at variable neutral densities. The big drawback, like I said, I've never had one that didn't give that effect, and I think it may be the wide range, or that's what I'm guessing. So what you should do is go ahead and check them out. Kase filters, variable neutral densities, 3 ranges, 1.5 to 10, 2 to 5, and 6 to 9. Definitely worth, if you are using wide angle lenses, I would recommend getting the 2 of them, the 2 to 5 and the 6 to 9, for a little bit more versatility. I don't think that you would find it as satisfying as if you were using the 1.5 to 10, because with the wide angle lens, you'd automatically have to go to about 30mm. So again, absolutely love them. I can see them in my bag all the time now. I'm really impressed. You can use the other Wolverine filters to snap one on the front, like the circular polarizer. I just think it's going to be something that is really, really useful in the future. So anyhow, if you like the content of the video, go ahead, give it a thumbs up. If you're not a subscriber to my videos, go ahead and hit that little subscription down there, ring the bell if you want to get notified whenever I do a new video. But if you have any questions, leave them in the comment section below. Again, David Akubian, Bear Woods Photography, and we're talking about the Kase variable neutral density filters for the Wolverine magnetic series. So have a good day. Thank you.